guys, welcome back to Tradition with a Twist. We're returning to our review of Grotesquerie. I think today is episode 7, Unplugged.
Unplugged. Yes. So much happened in this episode, and we have some confirmations of some theories and some information. So we'll kind of just do a quick run through of some highlights and points that we found in this episode.
Yeah. Well, as always, we start off very interesting with Lois. She and Merritt and Eddie are in a restaurant having dinner. And Eddie and Merritt are like, hey, Mom, guess what? So we're together now.
Well, yes, they're together now, but this whole dinner is also to celebrate the fact that Merritt did get cast.
Yeah, on my Half-Ton Trauma.
On Half-Ton Trauma, yeah.
And, Eddie's going to be her support. Eddie's going to be her man. He's going to be that support.
Yes.
And, they want to tell her mom.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to let you know that I got it. I got cast. I'm going to be on Half-Ton Trauma.
Half-Ton Trauma. Okay. So you're going to be a star of sorts.
Yep. Eddie and I are going to move in together. when we're filming the show, it's just better to have a support system. So
Always.
And that triggers Lois out the wazoo.
Ooh.
So, y'all together? Oh, what is this about? Like, Eddie, how could you want Merritt when, you were flirting with me and we was doing things and all of this and,
So, darling daughter, you do know the fast Eddie and I had a little thing.
Low.
A dirty thing. A nasty little assignations with a special stress on the ass.
Lois, please do not do this.
I mean, I had him in my mouth.
Lois, that did not happen, and you know it didn't happen.
Her comments on Merritt are quite derogatory.
Yeah.
Quite demeaning.
She said basically, listen, I don't know how you going to be with her. You had me. Look at me. Look at her. Them folds, that yeast, you can't even find it, man. What you mean? I know the flesh, but you can't find what you're looking for there. So how do you? How dare you?
What about my daughter? Do you enjoy lifting her folds, the acres of flesh, to find her welcoming, shiny pudendum?
Stop.
The folds with the yeasty rashes, the impossible to find pink holes.
Lois.
Mom.
You can't compare the two.
Yeah.
And Eddie is
Yeah.
like, oh, well, first of
Yeah.
all, you're delusional.
Leah, I wasn't flirting with you. Like, those AA meetings I was trying to get you to. I was trying to lead you to water, horse. Come on.
And Lois is like, first of all, you ain't black. You can't gaslight a black woman because I done licked you like a lollipop. That's what she said.
Yeah. And he's like, no, you're delusional. What are you talking about? That never happened.
Right. And
We'll put a pin in that.
We will. And so, Lois is just outraged. And Merritt handled things well for the most part. But then she had fire come back. And she said, you see all this, Mom? You see how you behave? That's why Daddy was out there with these hoes.
And if it was, you drove him to it.
No.
You did. With
No.
your combative warring.
No.
Yes.
No.
It's you.
No.
It's you.
Yep. You're the reason that he cheated.
It's
you
your
realize,
fault.
You realize that, right,
It's
Mom?
your fault.
You did it. Yeah.
And Lois said, you know what? I've about had enough. I am getting up. I don't have to take this anymore. And she leaves.
One thing you cannot do, pretty white boy, is gaslight a black woman. We know too fucking much.
Yeah. And as she leaves, she comes to, she's thinking a little bit, and she's like, you know what? I guess she figures, you know what? That's right. Why do I support this man? You know what? His life support is ending.
That's right. She was like, you could be with these hoes in heaven.
Yes.
Click, click, switches off.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm going to the head of the hospital right now, in this evening. I don't even care. And I'm going to be like, sir, remember we had the conversation?
Mm-hmm.
It's about time.
Yep.
Flick the off switch.
What's the process for this?
Yeah.
How can we get this rolling?
Now. And the hospital administrator is like, oh, ma'am, are you sure you don't want to think about it? Thought about it. She said, matter of fact, let me tell you something. You know your nurse, one of your nurses here, who's one of his hoes?
Yeah.
And just as she says that, who walks in? The red hoe.
Yes.
She walks in and she's like,
Yes. oh, I heard you were being bothered, Administrator, by this crazy drunken woman who's out of her mind.
And Lois says, out of my mind? I'm going to tell you who about to be out of their mind when I flip that switch.
Yeah. This is where, like, one of the few times she actually got stern with Red, and she was like, shut up. No. I'm the one who's making these decisions. It's over.
That's it. She was like, so say goodbye to your buddy, because he's about to be up out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Nick was here taking up precious moments of your time, which I counted out.
Bitch, you got a pen? Write this down. Take a memo. I am in a meeting with your fucking boss, and I am taking my husband off life support. Yes, it is happening. I never gave up my legal right, despite your many manipulations, which, quite frankly, I have outsmarted. I am large and in motherfucking charge. And I'm running this show.
Sir, this is an outrage. You simply
Shut
cannot...
your mouth. Jesus, I have the floor. So, Doc, it's hardly murder, right?
And Lois there's no change in her mind.
No. But she's like, you know what? And that's okay, though, because we're going to throw him a great goodbye party.
That's right.
We're going to listen to his favorite poetry.
That's
We'll
right.
have his favorite whiskey. We'll make it a grand affair.
But I tell you what he is doing, he's getting up out of here.
Lighten up, Red. I'm going to give this man a ritual he will have appreciated. His favorite poet and whiskey. It'll be a party. Have some candy.
Yes.
So
Yes. And as they're, you know, unplugging him, you know, it's a few more things that are quite curious. So we spotlight on Eddie and Merritt still at the diner together, you know, eating their meals. We spotlight on them.
Hey, how long is this going to take?
How long is the process?
Oh, okay. We passed the school where children played, their lessons scarcely done. We passed the fields of grazing grains. We passed the setting sun. That part is good. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible. The cornice, but a mound.
And then we also spotlight on Red, you know, laying in the bed with him because Lois didn't stay long. She was like, after she heard a little bit of poetry and she gave her shot of whiskey, here you go, here's to you.
I'm up out of here.
Yeah, she left. So it's very interesting that we spotlight on
who we
two
spotlight.
couples.
That's right.
Well, all right. Who's ready for a toast? Doc? To my late husband, a sensitive man, lover of poetry, liar, and cheat. R.I.P. He's forgiven. See, kids? It's that easy. I forgive you, pal.
Okay.
And so, you know, after we leave the hospital, we end up basically at this point, we've learned that Grotesquerie was Father Mayhew.
Yes.
And so it is the funeral of Father Mayhew, and Lois actually back in detective mode is in his office at the church.
Yeah.
And in his office in the church, you know, she's looking around, she's looking at all these different things. Father Mayhew has so much
creepy-ish. Like one of the cleanup detectives is like, where the heck are we?
What is all of this?
Yes. And I was like, well, you know, it's an artist's studio rehearsal space for the artist of blipping death.
You know, plucking death. There you go. And so basically it's like his office reflect the crazy mind, right, of the person that was able to construct all of these horrific
all of the previous murder paraphernalia.
Exactly.
All of it.
It's all right there in his office. And Lois is like, wow. Well, this says a lot. And so, you know, Lois is there but again, cut scene, and so now we visit our favorite sister. We hadn't seen her yet.
No.
And our favorite sister is in the church, and she's speaking to the archbishops and the heads, and she's like, listen guys, so
if you really want to continue this paper, you know,
put me in charge.
Yeah.
Give me total autonomy. Let me hire my own staff. Let me determine the stories because I have not failed you. Father Mayhew, he was a little cuckoo, but I can keep this train running and I can make sure I put butts back in these seats
because I will keep the terror coming. And, the Archbishop says that terror is the crux of faith. So
Mary, Sister Megan, she gets what she wants, and she is in charge of the paper. She has total autonomy, and the church is fully behind her.
Yes. So it's basically Sister Megan on the come up.
I mean, for real. Her man not here no more, but clearly she don't care. So everything is good, right? She's feeling good about herself.
Oh yeah. She walks away with a pep skip in her step.
What?
Yeah.
And so we have Megan being celebrated for success, and again, cut scene, and now there's a celebration for Lois.
Yes. It is a celebration that turns into something altogether. Yeah. So I think it's like it's interesting between like the juxtaposition. So we start with Megan and her comeuppance. Right? Mm-hmm. And so now we have Lois, and yes, you're being celebrated, but we're going to kick you out the door also.
Yeah, I think it's time. Your time has
This
come.
is your send-off.
Yes. We appreciate all that you have done. We appreciate all the hard work in fighting Grotesquerie. However, new technology has emerged, and this new technology in policing is going to basically take your place.
Yeah.
So, but we're not going to send you off empty-handed. We're actually going to send you off quite full.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get your full salary for the rest of your life. You have your pension. You have Marshall's pension. I mean, Miss Ma'am, you got it good.
Yeah. It's very, very, very curious. I find also, though, that, as they're talking about these emerging technologies and, cutting the force by like 60-something%, that, Lois makes it a point to be like, well, technology can't solve these cases. I was able to solve it because I am a human. I think like a human. I have emotions. I'm able to do these things. And she's like, well, it don't really matter. Right.
He flew me to St. Paul last week for a presentation.
Presentation on what?
Emerging technologies in policing, bonkers stuff.
What are you talking about?
Artificial intelligence, autonomous cruisers, a whole network of cameras with a centralized brain that analyzes the footage. Those fucking animated robot police dog things.
No. I solved this case. Oh, I solved all my cases because I have an actual brain and a heart, just like a perp. Nothing understands a human like another human.
Well, they disagree.
I won't resign. Fire me. I dare you.
It isn't my call, and they will. They're cutting 65% of the force. It is what it is. The world is changing. Wake up, Lois. Wake up.
It don't really matter. So Lois walks away angry.
Yes.
Angry and frustrated, I think, and a little fed up. And as she's walking out down the hall, past the hall that has the room for her celebratory congratulations, thanks for solving the murder.
Yeah. The balloons that should say congratulations, we noticed they say get well soon, feel better. Just a quick little glance. It's like, okay, y'all. We picked that up.
Yeah.
But before you can really focus on it, before you can even bat your eye, you're now transported to Lois's home.
Yeah.
And she and our sister are together in the kitchen. Lois is making something in a stock pot.
Yes. Soup or something.
Something.
Yeah.
There go that stock pot.
Yes.
But, and she's over there chopping vegetables. And Sister Megan, let me tell you, that come up.
Yes, and Sister Megan is glad about her come up. She's bragging about her come up and all of these great things. And she does mention a little bit like, oh, well, Lois, if it wasn't for you giving me
the
certain access
and information, this would not be my story. This would not be how it happened for me.
Yeah.
And, they panned down because Sister Megan, when I tell you she came up on some Louboutins because
she's wearing those red bottoms.
What? Stiletto red bottoms, and everything is going well. She's popped up on the counter, and Lois is like, nice shoes.
And also, Lois says, do you even know the history of those shoes? You know, and then
Yeah.
they actually came about because hookers used to work in the meatpacking
Meatpacking
district
industry.
and would get blood on their shoes, and they would say you could tell the sinners from the saints by the color of the soles of
On
their
their
shoes.
Interesting.
Curious.
And Lois you can see Lois's mind working
It's
as
churning.
she is.
It's churning.
as she is like chopping these vegetables and getting stuff ready for this soup or whatever. And she's like, she said, you know what I find interesting? You and Father Mayhew had a romantic relationship. Sister's like, yeah, okay. What you? She said, and
It's interesting that you recovered so fast from your injuries.
After your injuries, I mean, you were shot.
After being shot, yeah.
But what's weird, and how is it no major organs? It just happened to miss everything?
Like the person who shot you had a purpose, had a goal.
Interesting. She goes furthermore.
Injure, but not take down.
And furthermore, I was in Father Mayhew's office, right? And I remember you had a crime wall. Those things from Father Mayhew's office match the things on your crime wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And our sister Megan is stewing over there. She kind of stewing, and her brain is working too.
And she's walking around also, and like, okay. And she picks up a knife off of the counter until as she's listening to Lois say all these things. It's just kind of in her hand, and she's like, "Don't call me out.
Right.
Everything's okay.
Right.
Everything's fine.
Everything's good here, right?" And Lois is like, "You know what I think?" And our little sister loses it.
She has a possession again.
Listen.
She gets the crazy eyes, yells out blasphemy, starts speaking in tongues, and then
she goes
after Lois, lunges
with
at her.
that knife.
Yes.
And there's a
stabs
tussle.
her. Yes, he stabs her
multiple times.
I think I just cracked the case.
Yes.
Multiple times. But Lois, being the G that she is,
She hot pots her.
what? That pot that was on the stove splashed right in Sister Megan's face. But I don't know what horror movie book she took out of, because she jumped up after that like nothing.
Yeah.
And still coming after Lois,
and then
right?
stabs Lois several times, and we're seeing kind of just Lois like bleeding out on the floor.
Yes.
And as it's doing this, though, it's now backing up. Like, we're now looking through a door.
Yes.
And everything around is black. And the square of them fighting gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then it blacks out.
Yeah. And then we kind of...
It almost lulls you into a false sense of security, because it takes you back to the same exact diner that Lois, Merritt, and Eddie were at.
in.
But now we do see Eddie and Merritt, but we see Marshall. And Eddie also looks a bit different.
Eddie got
He's
a mullet.
rocking the mullet. Yes!
Eddie got a mullet. Eddie's not as cute, y'all. He's just not.
He's not as suave. He's not as
not
no,
put
not
together.
at all. Not at all.
And it is Merritt and Eddie, but Merritt is put together, y'all.
Yes,
Merritt is put together,
Yes,
professional.
got the blazer.
What?
The
No
nice
more
shirt.
TTCs.
No.
No more tiny clothes.
no.
Merritt
None
has
of
a
those.
whole new vibe. And where Lois was sitting, Marshall sitting across from them, and Merritt proceeds to tell her father
Well,
that
we're
she
here
and
because
Eddie are getting a divorce.
Yep.
And he goes, Marshall goes, well, why? What has caused that? And Merritt goes, let me just tell you something, Dad. He been fucking mom for the last 2 years.
A divorce? Really? I thought the therapy was going so well. Infidelity is something that a lot of couples are dealing with these days. It's not going to be easy, but we'll push through. Lois was something like I'd never experienced before in my life. A mother.
Dad, he has been fucking mom for the last 2 years.
Excuse me? What?
Yep.
He's been sleeping with mom for the past 2 years.
Yep. They've had an engagement.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
No.
I wasn't ready.
So, back to reality.
What?
Oops, there goes gravity.
Because who do we find out is in the coma?
Yeah.
Lois.
Yep.
So this has been a fever dream.
Yes.
Woo-hoo, we were right. But Marshall is outraged.
Yes.
Marshall is like, what?
Yeah.
Your mother had the nerve to what?
To cheat on me?
With your husband, Merritt? With her son-in-law? He was like, ugh, how dare she? How dare she? And Eddie is just like, I'm so sorry, y'all. I work at Cinnabon. I don't know.
She gave me things I didn't know. She made me feel like family. That's a little gross though, because he did say like she gave me a motherly thing, which is.
But then you were sleeping with her. But okay,
this ain't Oedipus.
Yeah, no judgment here. We gonna move past that because Marshall
has been cheating
utter
as well for not 2 years, 6 years.
Because we learned that Nurse Red, is his mistress. She is a cam girl, y'all.
She is straight up camming it.
What? Marshall been paying for an apartment for this woman for 6 years. And he goes to Nurse Red and, cam girl Red, and is complaining that Lois had the utter gall and audacity to be cheating on him with Eddie.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I love Red in this moment because Red said, pot meets kettle?
Yeah.
What are you doing? We've been together for 6 years, my man. And how Marshall has the ability to validate, he's like, yes, but that's kind of like incest. And Red is like, no, they ain't related, sir.
Exactly.
Get it together.
Exactly. And cheating is cheating.
Cheating
is cheating.
She's like, whatever. But Marshall is so upset.
Yeah.
Marshall can't get over it. He is like, you know what? F her.
Yep.
F that B. Okay? Because you know what? I was over there whispering in your ear. I was over there going to the hospital every day trying to take care of you. Guess what I'm doing?
We cutting the cord.
We
unplugging you.
You getting unplugged.
Talk about the flip around.
What?
Talk about the flip around.
What?
And as he's so he decides to unplug her. He tells Merritt. So now we move on to the next day, to where we are unplugging Lois. Merritt's there. She's very sad. Yeah. She's taking a somber moment.
Marshall's not sad at all. Marshall said, let's get this going. While y'all wiping her down, she ain't going on no date. Get this done. Get it done.
But what we also see is that Sister Megan in the dream is actually Chief Megan Duval
in real life.
So she comes to say goodbye, and Marshall's like, nah. You hated her,
and she hated you. You don't get to say goodbye.
Nope. Out of here.
Eddie shows up to say goodbye, and Marshall's like,
he loses his ish. He loses it. He's like, you got some nerves coming
up here.
He's like, I just need to say goodbye. He's like, no, F you, security.
And Mary tries to be the voice of reason to her dad. She's like, listen, we all have reason to be angry at mom, but let them say goodbye. And Marshall's like, last time I checked,
he said, I'm power of attorney. What I say goes. That's it. It don't matter. I don't care. And
done.
Yeah.
Done. And so
he's like, unplug her now. Right now. But Merritt, and it's funny though, because Merritt's like, if you do this way, you're gonna lose her today and me. I'm going to.
Now, you would think Marshall would take a moment, but he actually didn't. He looks over at the doctor. Guess who's the doctor? Father Freak Daddy is Dr. Mayhew?
Yeah.
So Father Freak Daddy all along has been the doctor in charge of Lois in real life.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready to flick that switch. And Mary goes, don't you do it. Not unless you want to suit up in here today. She was like, I would.
Negligent death. Want that on your hands?
I am not the one.
Nope.
Don't you do it.
Nope.
And so they pause for a moment.
I'm going to play Mom's favorite song here.
That's right.
And
Well,
Whew.
we kind of go back through that little door, I guess.
Yes, as the song is playing.
Yes,
Yeah.
that little door where Sister Megan and Lois are fighting in the kitchen. Well, Sister Megan is still winning.
Yeah.
But there's that moment.
Yeah.
Where Lois
Mhm.
she becomes the more stronger one, right? And
Yeah,
she
yeah.
she you know
They
that
have a
weapon
moment
she
she-
always had. That weapon,
Yeah,
that weapon
yeah,
she
yeah.
always had previously, her little pow pow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she makes her way to the pow pow. That's what.
Yes, she tries to at first though, and then they have a scuffle.
Yes.
And they're scuffling, and it looks like they're both like almost down for the
Yeah.
count, like, you know. But Lois does make it to the pow pow first.
Yep.
Grabs it, and it's almost, she's like sitting back, like she's
Yep.
like she almost can't take any more. And then Megan starts begging, like, no, don't do this, don't do it. And she's like, yeah, shut up, bye bye.
Pow. And with that pow, in the real world, you kind of notice the monitor, the heart rate monitor, begin to tick back up. And you realize Lois isn't gone.
Yeah. And you see her floating up.
And you see her kind of floating outside of her body. And then she settles back into, her spirit settles back into her body when the machine fully, heart rate.
That's when, so you see her settle back into her body actually as she pulls the trigger. As she pulls the trigger. So during their fight and their kerfuffle, she's floating up. Yeah.
And then when she actually defeats
Yes.
Sister, okay,
Yes.
she returns to her body.
Yes.
And of course, everybody in the hospital room is like, what the heck? You just hear Marshall being like, doctor, what's going on? Why is this happening?
Like,
this supposed to be a flat line.
Yes,
this is not right.
Sometimes it takes a little longer, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit for them to stop.
Nope.
Nah, she's
and instead
back.
of it getting weaker, it is stronger, and Lois has returned.
Yep. So, what an episode. What an episode.
Yes.
We find out the truth.
Yes.
We find out this is the fever dream.
It was.
And
no Freddy.
No Freddy.
But now Lois is back, y'all. So we get to see what goes on from here.
And who are these people from her fever dream?
Come on, because nobody looks in real life like they did. So we have a lot to find out.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, guys, we want to thank you so much, you know, for being in this episode with us. And, you know, we are tradition with a twist.
Yes.
So we got to go ahead here and give you our little twist. Feeling numbers.
Card or book?
Card. Let's do card. I forgot we have multiples. I forgot.
You want me to pull?
Yeah, you pull.
Okay. All right. So we're asking for a message here for the collective that may help them on their day to day or something that they need to hear. Ooh, okay.
It jumped out.
It did. All right. So we have number 6363. Cultivate. Cultivate positive attitude. Solutions inspire. Cultivate a positive attitude towards life. Look for the good in every situation and focus on the solutions rather than the problems. Surround yourself with positive people who inspire and uplift you.
Yay! Positive people who inspire and uplift you. So, guys, if you needed that message today, just keep in mind, you know, it's not as bad as oftentimes we think it is. And if we shift our perspective into the positive, you'll watch everything around you shift into the positive as well.
It's all about perspective.
It is. So, I'm Tracy.
I'm Nicole.
And thank you for joining us here. And we'll speak to you again soon. Don't
Thanks,
forget to
everyone.
like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe.
All right. Bye.